What's up, bro?
What's happening, African?
I'm well. How you doing this evening?
Man, I'm outside, man. Feeling really
So to
good.
speak.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm outside, but in the house. You know,
Right.
like, But yeah, man, feeling good, man.
Yeah, I'm good too. You know, yesterday I was in the affluent suburbs of Chicago.
So you was outside your house?
I was way outside. I was outside my hood. You know, I don't venture outside the hood. I'm too hood to venture outside the hood. But I went out to the affluent suburbs and I found there was this health food store and I found this new plant-based candy. Not that I'm doing a commercial, but I never tried it. And so I just got home. I had planned to take it out with me and I didn't. So I'm kind of, you know, I'm used to the finer things. So, you know, plant-based chocolate is my thing. Cashew oat milk chocolate with bits of plant-based toffee and sea salt.
All right, that kind of sound delicious though.
It's nice. I didn't get my coffee today. Wednesday's my coffee day. I didn't get my coffee, so I get my chocolate. So I have to.
What up, Trav?
Hey, so they made it. I'm glad. I thought it would be just me and you here. Being that things are brand new.
So look, I'm trying to find the African World Order channel.
Uh-huh.
That's the only way I can comment as myself. You know what I'm saying?
You not on there? You're like admin. I have to. It's all. I'm still setting it up. I was planning on sitting at my desk and working on it today, but I just couldn't make it home in time. I got home just before about a little over a half an hour ago. But I should fix that. But if you're searching for African World Order channel, you can go to YouTube.
I see it now.
Oh, you see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
This brand new. We in our infancy.
What up, James? You're not invisible, babe.
Nice. And look, see, he's an automatic admin extraordinaire. That's the thing. We got a G-ass ad moderator, so don't fuck around in the comments because James is so hard on people. Anyway,
y'all get over here.
We got a hardcore moderation in the chat. Shout out to James.
Yeah, James do get him out the paint hard.
Yeah, he be going hard. I be sympathetic to the haters and the trolls and the racists. I be like, God damn, do you have to be so hard on the racists? I mean, he's just shutting them down. But anyway, what did Khalid say? I won't be long, but I must be strong. I wanted to talk about Khalid was operating in a much more innocent time. In the pre-meme, pre-social media era. Bless his heart. But after the RNC and Hulk Hogan made his appearance on the RNC, everybody started making these references to the 2006 movie Idiocracy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first saw the movie way back in 2006, I was like, oh, this is a cool movie. I didn't even see it in 2006. I probably saw it like a year after it came out. But that was during the George Bush administration.
Mm-hmm.
And the George Bush administration was something else. I mean, of course, we were ankle deep in the war on terror. We were knee deep in the conservative uprising, yet another conservative pendular swing for U.S. politics. And the liberals were basically saying George Bush is both an evil tyrant and an absolute idiot, a hapless idiot. And I was going between New York City and Kansas City at the time. So I was both seeing that I was in the anti-Bush territory and strongly pro-Bush. And I don't remember back in the day, they all had that white W for George W. Bush.
Yeah, that's crazy.
and they would have these W bumper stickers, and it'd just be a white W.
No, it was a black bumper sticker
with a
white W, and then under it said the president.
But then it just went to just a W and nothing. Well, yeah, it had the president. And so they were saying the W was for white power. And someone went and found this, I don't know, some white nationalist separatist group in Wisconsin. And their thing was the white W with the exact same font and everything. So everybody was like, they playing in our faces. And long after Obama had won, I know this is ancient history in the timeline of American politics, but long after, well into Obama's first administration, white folks were still buying, selling, and displaying that white W. And remember, this is also the Tea Party era.
Yep.
When the Koch brothers really started going hard in the paint because they thought they were going to be regulated, and the Tea Party, which is the incestuous progenitor of the MAGA movement. And it was an interesting time. So when that movie dropped, people were like, oh, it was prophetic. Like the movie was talking about now. When everyone in 2006 was like, oh yeah, this is what we're living in now. And now even Bush came out against Trump, and everybody started praising Bush again. And he went on the Ellen DeGeneres show and was sitting around, and he was just this eccentric painter instead of this mass murderer who started 2 illegal global scale conflicts leading to the deaths of an estimated 12 million people directly, was using white phosphorus cluster bombs, depleted uranium, contaminating soil for the next 10,000 years. All the shit George Bush was forgiven because remember, he came out as in opposition to Trump. So shit moves fast.
And he ate candy with the Obamas. Don't forget that.
He ate candy. He hand fed Michelle candy. Michelle was licking the sugar residue off his palm. And that was just before she gave his daddy a lap dance in his wheelchair. I remember that. So it was an interesting time that gave us Idiocracy. And now I see so many people talking about Idiocracy today outside of the context from which it came from. They're only seeing it through today's lens, asserting that it is prophetic or it was some movie that was ahead of its time. Like people like to pretend that The Simpsons predicted the future. Right. And in 2006, people were like, oh, this movie is holding a mirror up to today's society. And what I'm really seeing now is people don't understand that the absurdity and viciousness and backwardness of the United States ain't nothing new or nothing old. It is something that is with us and consistent. So what I want to talk about is some of the main themes, especially the propagandistic lies and distortions of the movie. Because I don't think the movie, even though, and I have to say, Mike Judge, I'm a big fan of King of the Hill. Big fan. I've watched that whole series through with my wife, and I think it is a very, very thoughtful, funny, well-balanced portrayal of centrist, liberal ideology, politics, outlook. And it's funny that Mike Judge, even though all of his work is infused with social commentary, social criticism, and politics, he has managed to be an essentially apolitical figure coming out of Hollywood, unlike, the liberal so both liberals and conservatives tend to favor him and try to lay claim to him. So that's why I wanted to talk. Did you get a chance to watch it again?
I did.
You know what's stood out most to me? This most recent rewatching of the film.
It is not going to be.
I never realized that was Scarface.
Oh,
I did not know that was Brad Scarface Jordan who paid the pimp.
Upgrade, yeah.
For Maya Rudolph. That I just noticed that this time around.
But you also got to remember, like isn't Office Space Mike Judd or something like that? It wasn't he involved with that?
Yeah. He did Office Space, Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill.
Right.
I mean, his resume is thick with it. So yeah.
Mine was when the doctor was like, "All right, niggas."
Word? I missed that.
Watch the movie like that. Like more than anything else, that jumped out to me. Like the doctor was like, "All right, niggas."
See, can I tell you something? You know I'm an alpha male. I don't get into all that comic book geek weirdo shit. But Wolverine,
And you wear a Deadpool t-shirt?
Huh? Oh,
and
that's
you
what
wear
this
a Deadpool
is?
T-shirt?
Just a little something I threw on. Wolverine, I think I have the same mutation as Wolverine. Not his claws or his healing factor, but it was found out that he also has a mutant. His mutant healing factor has a psychic component, meaning that if he has a super negative experience, his brain will rewrite that memory so that it doesn't harm him psychically. And so they found out that because a big part of his story arc was trying to reveal his past, remember where he come from. He didn't know where he came from. He just emerged in a Canadian, I think it was Project H laboratory as Mutant X. And so he always had a shadowy history. And as they were Professor Xavier was trying to help him protect his past. So all I'm saying is I think I might have that mutation, because sometimes people be like, "Did you see that?" And I'll look at it, but I don't see it, to protect my own psyche, to protect my own sanity. So I might have that same mutation as Wolverine. That's a little deep dive, but like I said, that's some nerd shit I overheard years ago. But going back to it, the thing that stands out and the most blatant criticism that I have leveled against Idiocracy is the eugenic aspect. That intelligence is passed on from parent to offspring through the DNA. And if you are born of parents who don't have high intellect, or if you are to go off the movie, no formal education, then you are destined to be of low intellect, because intellect is coded in your DNA. So that's one of the most,
We've talked about this outside of this, and I can be like, "Oh, okay, I can see what you're saying." For me though, I definitely don't think intellect is passed down genetically, but I do think being encouraged to think is nurtured in a child. So, if your parents don't encourage you to think, and it's a lot of do as I say, I don't find it a stretch to be like, we deteriorate quickly, because where else are you going to get encouraged to think?
I agree. You're absolutely right. In fact, research has demonstrated that even in the womb, the hormonal makeup of the mother greatly influences the child's disposition. In terms of, they find that women who carry their child to term through high stress conditions have a high level of C-reactive protein and other stress chemicals and adrenaline in their bloodstream. Their children are born more sensitive, more reactive. Whereas a woman who is in a state of calm, a state of feeling psychologically secure and supported. The children tend to have a more tolerance, higher level of stress tolerance. But those type of characteristics are not the same as intellect. There are many things that we attribute to intellect that aren't necessarily demonstrative of having an intellect or one's capacity to develop and expand their intellect.
Right.
So that's the issue. Like, literacy is tied to intellect. But
right.
Literacy and intellect have a correlation, but they're not the same thing. And the absence of literacy is the lack of a skill. The inability to read means you don't have a particular skill, but it does not. And it might even direct how you develop your intellect and how do you utilize your intellect. So there are so many things we tie with intellect. And so, yeah, children's vocabulary, their curiosity, their risk-taking and risk assessment, all those things can be impacted by the parents' engagement from early on, even in the embryonic stage. But that does not necessarily speak to the child's intellect or intellectual capacity.
So, right. I would go probably too far in what you're saying for you to agree with it. I don't think reading or writing are indicators of anything other than the ability to read or write. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about like literally write, not like develop and express a series of thoughts. I think as a species, that's still incredibly new. And for the most part, like, I don't know how the ability to do that or the inability to do that is indicative of anything other than the ability to do or not do that, right? But I'll go back to being able to ask intelligent questions, because there's one thing about this group of idiots that makes them smarter than the idiots that we have today that I'm interested to see if you pick up on, that I noticed, is that they were smart enough to recognize this guy's smart. Let's ask him. That's something that we don't really have in this time now. Like, you know, the expert, you know, the expert doesn't have a particular value in these current times, which is terrifying and fascinating at the same time for me.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, but at the same time, they exhibited an intense amount of anti-intellectualism. At the same time, in the movie.
No, I'm saying, but do we not now? Like, in the current culture that we live in, and I don't think today is as far from when the movie came out as we would like to think that it is.
Well, I don't think the movie has any correlation to. I don't agree. I don't think that the movie has any correlation to modern society. What is happening? I think the movie distorts. I think if you watch Idiocracy, you would have, and you try to apply it to modern society, it's more likely to draw you towards inaccurate and incorrect conclusion.
Okay, say more.
And I think that it would make someone more, if you think that the conditions, and my favorite genre of movie is post-apocalyptic movie. That's my favorite genre. I don't care if it's Mad Max, you know, any post, except for those YA, you know, Divergent type. It's my favorite form of movie, except for the young adult arena type thing. But post-apocalyptic sci-fi, post-apocalyptic fantasy, that's my favorite genre of movie. So I was well positioned to love this movie. I'm glad that we agree on and see eye to eye that the position that people who are deemed, well, let's just say ignorant people, stupid people, uneducated people having children, too many children. Number one, intellect is not passed on from parent to adult through genetics. Number two, the overpopulation of uneducated people is not the cause of downfall of society.
Absolutely.
Neither one of my parents have high school degrees. But all of my mother's offspring have higher education, certifications, and all of that. So it's not, if so to speak, but not even to say, because aside from their addictions and their other issues, they are two very intelligent people. And that's probably at their core, because they think and feel too much, is probably, and they didn't really have the means to process those emotions and shit they were trying to escape. So maybe that was a lot of times. So number one, the movie will tell you dumb people cause the downfall of society. Uneducated people cause the downfall of society. And we can go back to every social upheaval, every massive social disruption throughout history. And I will promise you, 9 times out of 10, the people who cause the social upheaval, the social disruption, are the most educated people with the most formal education, the most degrees, and the most people, not people who go to tractor pools, people who go to public lectures and go to the symphony and to the opera. Those are the people who cause the downfall of societies. Whether it is the Great Depressions or Great Recessions, the various economic upheavals and collapse and economic instruments, stock market crashes, to international conflicts, whether it is a genocidal conflict, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, the genocidal campaign, the very conceptualization of the Israeli settler colonial state, those were all conceived of, coordinated by, controlled the logistics, the budgeting, the allocation of resources. All of society's disruptions and upheavals that I could think of in the modern era have been caused by people that come out of MIT, that come out of think tanks, that come out of the Chicago School of Economics. The whole upheaval, the juntas, the death squads, the dictatorships of Latin America were all conceived, conceptualized, and set up by Harvard and University of Chicago graduation. They called them the Chicago Boys. The Project for the New American Century, even Project 2025, came out of a think tank. And when Trump sits there and says, I don't know anything about it, he's a puppet. So Trump is an idiot. But the reason he's so dangerous as an idiot is because he's controlled by a lot of brilliant people. And so that's the main lie of the movie, is that dumb people have caused the collapse of society.
Well, that's not what I saw. One of the things that jumps out to me is he was like, and our most brilliant minds were obsessed with hair growth and erections, right? Like, I think that itself points to there was intelligence on the planet, but the intelligence of the planet was not pointed at solving the issues of the planet.
Then they're not intelligent.
Explain.
Bobby E. Wright said there's a difference between education and training.
Right.
Kwame Ture also touched on this extensively. Kwame Ture was a medical student before he became a revolutionary. And Bobby E. Wright was a medical doctor.
Psychologist. But
you'll meet a lot of highly trained. Oh, I think I just got what's that guy? Ben Carson?
Yeah.
Brilliant surgeon.
Yeah.
Gifted hands. Brilliant surgeon. But an idiot nonetheless. An absolute idiot. Did you see when he was running in the presidential primary? You ever see any of his political campaigns? Did you see when they went to his house and interviewed him and the misspelled words he had posted on his wall? So Ben Carson is highly skilled, not highly intelligent. And a lot of times, some of the people who can, and it's kind of like what I might call the Forrest Gump phenomenon, because your brain doesn't make all these connections and go in all these directions. If you focus that type of mind onto something, they become brilliant. They become like savants in a particular skill because they're not encumbered by other people whose mind tend to go in a million and one directions. So an educated person, an intelligent person who can take their intellect and the skills given by their intellect, quote unquote, and be oriented towards erection and hair growth while their society collapse around them. Can we call that intelligent? And I think that phenomenon also points to another issue, another big, huge lie in the movie. Because the intro of the movie said, the downfall of society is because intelligent people weren't having children while ignorant people were over reproducing.
We say that all the time.
And it is suggested that the reason why the last remaining intelligent people on earth were working on hair growth and things is because they were trying to speak to the desires of the ignorant masses, as though the ignorant masses are the ones who dictate what.
Yeah, but that's not what it says.
That's what it. That's why I said it suggests that. Why were
but
they
I did not pick up that suggestion. And more than anything, I think that reinforces the point that you were making earlier about how somebody profits off of this chaos.
It ain't.
So somebody was like, yeah, whatever about figuring out what to do with this trash. We trying to figure out how to have firmer, longer lasting erections and not be bald.
Who's that somebody?
I definitely think it's the money class.
And are they the uneducated? And okay, if it's the money class that's causing this, why was the ignorance always black coded or poor white coded?
I don't understand. Like
the masses of the people, you saw the president wearing big gold chains and everybody's wearing flashy colors. If you look at it again, you'll see that the ignorance of society has leaned towards the taste and aesthetics of poor white people and black urban culture. You'll see that the presidential cabinet, they were wearing a lot of big gold and big gaudy gold chains with big medallions on them. Something you would see Run DMC on in the 80s. Also, for outlets, they love tractor pulls and stuff you might call them redneck or peckerwood. When I was growing up, my uncles, they white friends, would call themselves peckerwoods, and they were into that type of stuff. So even though you say, well, it's the money class who caused the downfall of society, that's not what the movie said. That's not even what the movie suggested. It suggested that the elite intelligent people were victims of the hordes and hordes of ignorant people. They were overwhelmed by the hordes of ignorant people, and the few remaining intelligent people were using their intellect to satisfy the ignorant needs of the masses for hair and erection. and they had a black president in 2006, pre-Obama. It's like the movie Armageddon, and every time the world is ending, white folks love pre-Obama putting a black president in, whether it's Morgan Freeman or President Camacho. Whenever it's the end of the world, let's throw in a black president. Now that doesn't hit like it did in the post-Obama era. But that was also a subtle message. But wrestling, a pro wrestler. So you said the moneyed elite class destroy the world, but the world destroyed looked like everything that the moneyed elite aren't into. And it also suggests that in order to save the world, we need to bring back the elites. These sophisticated people who didn't do wrestling, tractor pulls, and wore gaudy jewelry. They're the saviors. They're the destroyers and the saviors.
I mean, I think if you look at the movie and that's what you wanted to say, I think it does say that. I also think that like the hero of the movie was not an elite, and he absolutely wasn't smart.
What did he tell that girl when she was going back in time and he was in jail? What did he tell her to do?
What did he tell her to do?
To save the future. He was locked up and he told Rudolph, he told this, I don't remember her character's name. He told the sister, go back in time. Just leave me. I'm stuck here. There's no saving me. Remember, they were about to put him in that arena and execute him. He said, go back in time and tell people to read books. Tell people, he literally said, go back and tell people, the elite class, go back and make sure people read books in the intellectual class to prevent this apocalypse from happening. You got to preserve the elites who caused the downfall. And notice, because I'll just say this, a more appropriate name for that movie would be corporatocracy. Corporatocracy. Because the movie didn't just say idiots were the downfall. They were very clear in demonstrating who the idiots were. And it was the poor masses. And the poor masses are the victims of collapse, are the victims of mismanagement and corruption, but they're never the cause. Like Amos Wilson said, if the world is to be destroyed, it's not going to be a black kid in a hoodie. It's going to be a white man in a lab coat that destroys the world. And now we're sitting here thinking people who enjoy wrestling and play their music too loud and like to pump up the bass in their cars while they drive down the street in rims are the threat to society and causing the downfall of society.
Yeah, I mean, I can arrive there with you. I think some of the steps there are just kind of, because I didn't necessarily see it that way. So I'm definitely gonna watch it thinking about it in the way that you described it, because I did not see it much differently than I thought, other than, you know, that doctor saying, come on, niggas. Like, that was just crazy to me. The other piece, though, that I think jumps out at me is when you say it wasn't the masses that did it, but, you know, this is where I turn into Southern Black conservative Josephus, right? Like, where, how do we, as the people that are walking towards whatever this particular thing is, right? Like, how do we, as the people that are walking towards it, in unison with all the other people that are walking towards it, how do we not hold any responsibility for all the people that are following the thing? Because I just seriously doubt that nobody is saying, don't reading books is dumb and for suckers. Like, I don't think there's anybody saying that. There is, I don't think there is nobody that is saying that.
Yes.
Right? Somebody says, hey, bro, like maybe we shouldn't sell crack. And what happens that we keep selling crack even after we've kind of seen the outcomes and the consequences of doing this? Was that clear?
Yeah, well, I think that we have to go back to behavioralism, another evil genius. You know, going back to even Descartes' philosophy and the evil genius. If you look at B.F. Skinner and behaviorism, and how do you utilize a whole population? How do you control a whole population without employing continuous brute force?
Yeah.
How do you get people to passively or voluntarily engage in behaviors that are against their better interest? Mm-hmm. And beyond freedom and dignity, he laid out the mechanisms of control. Mm-hmm. So the problem is, while we're thinking about paying bills and raising our children, keeping the lights on, navigating a neighborhood where there might be hostility and predatory individuals trying to rob us or con us, the elites who don't have such concerns. Mm-hmm. And when we look at elites, we tend to look at them as saying, oh, they got nicer cars, bigger houses, and better accommodations on airplanes than we do. Mm-hmm. But the true elites aren't content with consuming products. Yep. They want to engineer society. So if you go beyond Floyd Mayweather and his private jet and expensive watches, and you get up to the Bill Gates, the Rothschild, the Bilderbergers, the DuPonts, the true owners of the means of productions, you see that engineering and orchestrating society is their pastime. Mm-hmm. And they operate on timelines that are multi-generational, that span decades, where the average citizen can't really function beyond the next election cycle. Citizens go to the polls and vote for lower gas prices, while the elite fund campaigns to take over oil reserves in the Arctic. So you have this small, highly resourced, highly focused elite with these masses who are atomized, individualized, and scattered. And the elites are at constant war, so it's a one-sided class warfare. So that's the problem. It's the masses of the people, the ideology of the left has been obliterated, purged from populations from Latin America, the African continent. We even look at right-wing theocratic reactionaries as revolutionaries here in the US and on the African continent. When before their ideologies were more upfront, were better understood, and more important to us than the fact that they had Kalashnikovs and they were willing to go into the bush to liberate their country. And everyone had to know, well, that's a communist guerrilla. That's an anarcho-syndicalist movement. You know, that's a left-wing saboteur. Everybody, the ideology came before the action. Now the action, I'm out in these streets organizing. I'm up front. Ideology is not even a part of it. He's fighting for us. He's advocating for us. He's leading us. She stands for us. And ideology isn't a part of it. If you go back and read the media from the 80s, they say communist guerrillas, yep, anarchist uprising, socialist cadres, pinko. They had slurs for it. This pinko. But now, when we talk about our movements, we talk about organizations. What ideology? And when you really, because if you looked at ideology, most of the prominent Black individuals and prominent Black organizations are liberal, centrist, or right-wing, theocratic. And they're not freedom. They're just trying to scramble to orient and organize Black people to extract more from the dead system, not to overthrow or replace it, just to extract from it. So that's how they did it. That's how, where you got somebody that can live in their community and say, I want better for myself. I'm an individual. I gives no fuck. So I can sling rocks as long as I get mine. And how we gonna look down because we see the up and coming drug dealer and he be like, he's a bad guy. But Jay-Z, because he's a billionaire now, we forgave his drug dealing.
And I think it goes back to, you know, that thing that you talk about, how we don't mind whatever the thing is as long as it has a black face on it.
Mm-hmm. That's because ideology is gone.
And without ideology, and it goes back to something else you say a lot too, with, you know, revolution being an academic pursuit. Is that what you say?
It's an intellectual endeavor.
Yeah, it's an intellectual endeavor. So yeah, like I'm definitely picking up on those things. I also think though that one of the things that I wrote this down. I'm like you. I got notes. One of the notes I wrote down was he wasn't the smartest either. Talking about the lead character and thinking about how in current society we've gone so far to the right that now just being like, hey, I don't know. I think maybe, you know, we shouldn't pollute the earth is a radical stance, right? Like, and what does that say about what we ought to be doing and the way that we ought to be moving and the community that we ought to be working in? If we should probably put water on these plants and not whatever the name of the Gatorade was. Like, let's do that instead of this. When we've gone that far down the road, you know.
Right. But again, that's to the fault of the intelligent people, the most highly educated. And another thing that the movie suggests that is intelligence is inherently moral and ignorance is inherently amoral or immoral.
See, I don't think I picked that up.
What movie was you watching, Skip? You told me you rewatched this movie.
I did, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think
you remember the Costco scene where everything, like Starbucks, every new corporation from Taco Bell to Starbucks was basically a pornography shop and a sex shop.
But like, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I'm not attaching morals to that. What I am saying is, how you think, man, I'm about to sound like a Republican. When people can't control anything else, one of the things they're gonna try to find is an orgasm. Like,
but this wasn't sex in the context of intimacy.
But
this wasn't sex in the context.
But that's what I'm saying. But that is not what we are right now.
This was literally. There's a big difference between sex and pornography.
And what I'm saying to you is, there is.
Well, listen, there's more evidence than the sex.
But this is what I'm saying, and I think this is important. Maybe it won't be after I articulate it out loud, but in my head it's important. I think I'm looking at the movie and thinking about the society that I see and that I interact with, and I'm not thinking about what Mike Judge may or may not have been saying in the movie as much as I'm looking at it and applying it to my particular context.
And that's how they get you. That's how propaganda works.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they don't get me. You know what I'm saying? But what I am saying is, it is very real to me in interacting with the communities that I interact with and the conversations that I have with people. The way I don't know a better way to say this, but the conversations that I have with people about people that they know and that they interact with, people aren't having relationships in a real way. Like, so it's essentially like you're not having what us as paired people would consider what we do with our women. I don't think other people are doing that. And it becomes like, yeah, I just want to look at porn, or I just want
to in on me saying the sex part.
No, I'm not, because it goes back to I want to like the other thing where he was like, I just want to watch Oh My Balls at the beginning of the thing.
But
go ahead.
No, I was saying that the ignorant people, there was obviously a theme throughout the movie that there was a moral collapse, that there was no morality. You didn't see anybody acting altruistically or willing to engage in any type of self-sacrifice behavior. Even the other heroes outside of the two protagonists of the movies from the future, every other person that did good had to be motivated through sex or money. So the movie theme overall itself equates ignorance with immorality. And also when they were their absurdist punishments and people were constantly assaulting each other, when the guy escaped from prison and the prison guard assaulted him, and the guy was being assaulted in prison, when the other guy was trying to sound out and read a word and the other guy called him a fag and he hit him in the face, there was absolutely not one person in the future that was altruistic, empathetic, or moral. So if the movie's theme is everybody's an idiot through dumb people outbreeding smart people, and then there is not one moral aspect, not one moral core left amongst the people, it's equating ignorance with immorality. And the saturation of porn on billboards and neon lights was just that movie's way of also pushing that point, which is another lie. And amongst the uneducated, unwashed masses, every international research and demonstration body finds that selflessness, charity, that the poor and working class, uneducated, illiterate masses engage in more altruistic and charitable behavior than the wealthy elites. Then working class people give a higher percentage of their time and resources to helping their fellow man than the multi-billionaires. So if Bill Gates gives $1 billion to charity, even though it outweighs anything any working class individual will do as a part of his entire wealth, it's a smaller fraction than a working class or poverty income person does. So if we were just going to measure morality in empathy, altruism, and charity, or however you want to define it, the ignorant people, the people who were typecast and stereotyped in that movie that could be reflective of that today, have a higher degree of morality than the intellectual, scholarly elites. So it's just a blatant misrepresentation, lie, and attack on poor, unwashed masses, on the lower classes.
I don't disagree. I also think that this is just one of those instances where I'm in my community enough to see some of this stuff, and it's just like, this is what I'm looking at. And it's not like in a looking that. So here's an example, right? We often talk a lot about ball chasing. right?
Yes.
Whatever the ball chasing of the day is, that's what we talking about, right? Like who chased it the best, right? One of the things that jumps out is we'll be talking about a thing and people will just kind of go back to, in my opinion, right? And it's like, well, but we don't know enough about the thing to talk about our opinions on it like that, like with any type of certainty. And the conversation continues in my opinion. And these are amazing memes, but I think this is what happens in a whole lot of instances where you're saying we don't really have an ideology. We can look at the importance of having an ideology and a worldview and a frame through which to kind of analyze all the things that we come in contact with. And I think this is your frame coloring the way that you see this particular movie, which I think is brilliant, right? And if we are looking at this movie, it's hard for me not to see the way people kind of move about their lives and the things that they do at their base when there isn't a voice to be like, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. And I just think that's important to acknowledge that these folks didn't have that, maybe we shouldn't do that voice, because it was wherever it was. And I think you're talking about your lens in watching the movie, and I'm talking about the movie relative to the community that I'm a part of more times than not.
But I again, I don't think it's reflective of your community, because the ultimate message of the movie is that the ignorant people are causing the downfall, corruption, and collapse of society.
And what I'm telling you is, in my community, I'm making the argument that you're making with people in my community who are making that argument. The people in my community are telling me we would be all right if these renters didn't live on the street. We would be all right if these women didn't keep having these kids. We would be all right if, like, and that's what I'm saying, like, the thing that you're arguing against is the thing that people in my community are telling me are the problem. And I'm like, bro, like, I don't think this woman having 4 kids is the problem.
Right. And that limited scope that people have is a byproduct of elite institutions engaging in relentless mass indoctrination and propaganda. And Absolutely. This movie is what feeds and reinforces that limited scope. The very message of this movie is what's translating into the streets, where everybody's saying we live in an idiocracy. That movie reflects society today, when that movie is the opposite. The opposite of what's going on in that movie is what is destroying. Everything that movie points to as being destructive, immoral, and harmful to society on a societal scale is wrong. It's wrong on all of its points. But they're so well portrayed, and they speak to so many of our own biases. They feed so many of our own surface conclusions that we're receptive. And I'm sure all of us think that the movie's talking about everybody but me. And let me tell you one thing that I think, if nobody hears that's listening to us take anything away, take this point away and repeat it to yourself and others. The only thing worse than a disease is a misdiagnosis. The only thing more harmful than a disease is a misdiagnosis. Because if you have a disease, there's a chance that you can get through it. Your immune system and your internal homeostasis can recover. or you can pass peacefully. If you're misdiagnosed, then what's going to happen is you're going to embark on a remedy and a cure that's going to make your condition worse. Not only that, you're going to develop false hope, you're going to squander your resources, and you're going to waste your time. So it is better to sit with the disease and do nothing than misdiagnose the disease and embark on an ill-fated cure. And that's what these movies like Idiocracy. So like the guy said, people need to read more books. People need to pay attention to global affairs. People need to do this and that. And what the movie didn't say, but it demonstrated, we need to submit to the elites. We need to submit to the authorities. And if we lose the authorities, if the authorities go away, societies collapse, even though it is the authorities who are collapsing society.
You right.
And everything is a lie. The problem is lied about, and the remedies are lied about.
Hold on. Just sitting there. The only thing worse than a disease is a misdiagnosis.
Yes.
That's
and I
strong.
think that's what that movie is. The movie points out a problem. The movie points out I think this to myself all the time. People are a lot dumber today than they were. And I'm speaking on my peers. I'm speaking on my peers, people that have degrees and letters before and after their name. I mean, I go around with conferences and meetings. I accompany my wife to her conferences and meetings. Her formal education is in psychology. My formal education is political science and public policy. And we go around our so-called colleagues and other professionals, and every year they seem to get, I wouldn't even say dumber, but more rigid.
Yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the idea of like narrowing the focus in some of the ways that you are doesn't allow for how broad my focus is, right? Because what I'm saying is I'm not thinking about the barbershop when I'm calling people dumb. I'm not thinking about them at all. I like you am thinking about these people that run organizations with large budgets and hire people and fire people and make decisions. It's just like, man, how do we arrive here?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if I can say this, but it's true. I've worked on political campaigns, and I've sat in the offices of elected officials trying to develop basically trying to encourage them to be competent bureaucrats. And I'm like, what a fucking hit. No. And I think to myself, this person could be better. I don't know. Because I mean, somebody gonna go back and look at the campaigns I worked on and figure out who I'm talking about. But I'm just saying, I'm in the people, as Wise Intelligence calls them, the globe holders, the population controllers, the disease makers, aka, the elites. And yeah, I'm seeing a lot of stupidity, but it's not born of lack of intellect. It's born out of their obligations to the economic systems and financiers.
Yeah.
What's really destroying society, what's really destroying the ecosystem, what's really tearing apart the fabric of society, what's really driving the human species to being dumbed down, restricted, is white hegemony and capitalism.
Yes.
And can I tell you, two things were left out of this movie that make it completely illegitimate. Especially if you want to talk about Idiocracy. Two things were completely left off the chopping block for criticism and condemnation.
Okay.
And that's racism and religion.
But like this the thing, bro. Like, I think you want him to make the movie you would have made.
No,
that's not like no. That's what I'm saying. You can't make that movie and include those things.
then you can't
for it to
critique
still
anything.
do-
How do you critique anything?
You don't.
You do. You must critique everything that comes into, because listen, if he made this movie, it was a family movie, and he only played it in his house for his immediate friends, I have nothing to say. But this movie is literally a cult classic, and a cult movie that has gone across the world and back 100 times over since 2006. And in my own, not just on social media, but in my own community, I hear people referencing, oh, this is Idiocracy. Idiocracy was a documentary. Idiocracy is real. So it ain't that I want to make the movie. I don't care what he makes. What I care about, less than what he did, is how my people interpret it and how it's influencing people's conclusions and analysis. That's what concerns me. Like I said, in the arena of politics, analysis, critical thinking, conclusions, that's where I think it's harming us.
You just said that the elites have a hand in it, right? Right?
Had a hand in what?
Like in the downfall of society. That's what.
No, I said they are the sole cause of it.
Okay, that's fine, right? So elites are the sole cause. So if he's gonna make a movie that's gonna be critical of religion and what was the other one? Capitalism.
I didn't say he needed to make a movie critical of religion. What I'm saying,
you bro, like that's not what I said. You said.
Okay.
You said that should have been included, right?
I'm saying that if you,
I just asked you if you just said should.
I didn't say it should have been included. I said it was left out.
Okay, and what I'm telling you is, if you include
what did happen,
okay,
not talking about
and what, okay, fine. What I'm telling you is, you start doing that, the movie don't go to the cinema, and you don't make the money. So he doing what the elites.
I agree.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. He doing what the elites will have him do too.
Yes, my problem is not him. My problem is not Mike Judge. My problem is not even the movie industry. My problem is not even the movie Idiocracy. My problem is the misdiagnosis, the off-base, inaccurate conclusions that my people from my community draw from watching the movie. So what they take in and what they articulate or regurgitate is my issue. So when my community, like, I don't talk a lot about Trump, because the vast majority of my community have reached the accurate and correct conclusion about who Trump is and what Trump is doing.
Yep.
I have personally interacted with only one black Trump supporter in real IRL, in real life. I run into a lot of black Trump supporters online, but in my space, in my circles, in places where my feet touch the ground, outside, I've only run into one Trump supporter. So a lot of my critiques, going back, people used to tell me, you criticize Obama all the time. You never talk about Bush. Or you criticize Obama and you don't talk about, what's that? The Mormon cult, the White Horse Prophecy. Raw money. Get raw money. And so now I'm getting that you talk about Kamala and you don't say nothing about. So I don't go after low-hanging fruit. So my issue, my critique is to help my own community, because Idiocracy is a blatant form of propaganda, but it draws from and it feeds into much more subtle forms of propaganda. It draws from and feeds into the conclusions and what is articulated in our churches, like you just said. All over our community, we got people saying our lives, our condition would be better if it wasn't for these niggas. And that feeds into and is drawn out of that the corporate propaganda system. So I'm not asking the propaganda system to put out better propaganda. I'm asking for my community to engage in more critical thinking. So when they are exposed to propaganda, even propaganda that they enjoy, because there's a lot of fucking corporate propaganda that I really enjoy. But I never turn off my critical thinking. Like, I never, when they lie to me, I'm a make a mental note. Oh, that's a motherfucking lie, but this is a good ass movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fucking misogynistic line, but this is a dope track. I can't just be like, well, I can't criticize it because I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the things that I've heard you do in other instances. I don't think I'm absolutely certain I was not asking you to do that. I don't think you will ever be asked to do that. But I think what it is for me, hey, let's watch this like you're doing with me, and being like, you don't think about that a little differently, like consider this, and this. And it's like, oh yeah. Like that hit different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Than just being like, we are the, because
But I gotta say.
Mm-hmm. Right. Go ahead.
Because I think you took a shot at me. Even though, how can you make a movie about the intellectual decay of human society and not in any way say, well, that society would be a highly factional one in terms of racism and racist faction, and not be a theocratic society? I definitely think if human intellect collapsed, then we would move from, and the people we look at as the Idiocracy people, the RNC, is because Idiocracy came back on my radar after the RNC, and everybody was comparing Camacho to Hulk Hogan's speech, and they were like, Idiocracy has arrived. Those people are also theocrats. I didn't see one suggestion of religion in that entire movie. Did you?
It would be.
They even criticized corporations. Even though they lied about corporations, they really kind of fronted like corporations
are indifferent.
Were the victim of the consumers.
Yeah, but they're indifferent.
They're not indifferent. Corporations are ideological and very driven and very focused.
No, that's what I'm saying. They tried to paint. The movie tried to paint them as indifferent. Like, oh yeah, we just making the things that the customer wants. Like, what are we supposed to do?
For mispronouncing, what is it? Kamala's name.
Kamala. That's it. Like,
and I'm disrespecting her.
Listen, bro, I don't agree with Joe Cool on this. I don't agree with it. I don't even know what RWS is.
Right wing. Reeks of right wing sexism.
Okay. I mean, I think that's crazy because the girl name look like Kamala.
I'm black. It's my black vernacular.
Kamala. Like, I mean, Kamala. I get it.
That's how if you grew up, you know what? Hey.
But that's the thing. Her name is Kamala.
And what has she
better than that? Call her by a name.
Why?
Because that's her name.
That's it? That's your only reason?
Yes.
No, I call people out their name all the time. Why should she be exempt? Nobody ever got on me for calling Dr. Umar Dr. Fubar. Nobody ever got on me for saying Farrakhan, man.
Yeah, but you still pronouncing their name right.
Farrakhan, man.
Yeah, Dr. Farrakhan.
And Dr. Fubar.
Umar, close enough.
I never got in trouble for saying Barack Obama.
Yeah, that was wild. Barack Obama is wild.
But I gotta call Kamala. And listen, go ahead his argument with white folks. This is not an argument for me. I just call her Kamala because when I've seen the name, that's how it's spelled.
But you said it right, then.
I don't respect her as a politician.
You just said it right, though.
Huh?
You just said it right.
Yeah, it's Kamala. Because somebody wrote comma, the word comma, and L-A, comma, la.
That's how you say her name.
Yes, but when I'm casual, when I kick off my shoes and snuggle into my sofa, this is how it comes off. I say it as I see it.
I'm not saying you wrong.
And how am I obligated to respect Kamala? How the fuck am I obligated to respect her?
I'm not listen.
Based on what?
Listen, I'm not getting into the respect. I ain't getting into the value. I'm not even getting into the protect black women. I'm not getting into none of that. All I'm saying is the girl named Kamala. I'm gonna call her Kamala. I'm not gonna call her Kamala, which I think is funny. I do think Obama is the greatest one ever. Like Obama, like that.
Nobody ever got on me for it.
That's one of the best ones.
I would say, listen, I always thought that's how her name was said.
I know, and that's part of it. Like,
I will work on it for y'all sentimental people who want to have respect for your genocidal overseers. I will try to say Kamala because y'all want to play footsies with white liberals.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. This crazy right here. Oh, hold on. I had to go back because I look at the comments so I can post this myself on the other one. Now they mad at me.
You being gynocentric.
Like, I don't even know what this is about.
You're saying we have to appropriately pronounce black women's names, but we could play with black men's names.
Like, I have no idea what I'm gonna tell you this. When we open the lineup, I want you to come on and explain this. Cause listen, I have no idea what you're talking about. I think you mad about something.
I just told you what the problem is.
What is it?
You're okay with saying Obama, but you're not okay with me calling her Kamala.
Who I am? So now I'm supposed to protect Barack Obama?
As much as you protect Kamala.
What? That didn't make sense. Okay. So that people are saying that this person is ADOS.
Yeah, they definitely coded. That message is coded in ADOS.
Oh, okay. That's crazy too.
Let me just say this. I have to say this every time. People do not descend from conditions. People descend from race, phenotype, genetic. People descend from cultures. People can even descend from continents and regions and
hey, listen, bro.
Dynasties.
Bro.
People do not descend from conditions, even if it's a horrendous condition like slavery. So there are no European descendants of serfdom, no Jewish descendants of concentration camps or Holocaust. There are no, great Trail of Tears, Native Indian descendants of the Trail of Tears. Anyone that is trying to lock your identity and your history into a tragic event and make that your identity and identifier is not only manipulating you, but dehumanizing you. We descend from Africans. We descend from Africa. We descend from our ancestors. We did not descend from slavery. We endured slavery. We were subjected to chattel slavery. We did not descend from slavery. And you can only descend from that which you create or that which created you. Slavery did not fucking create us, nor did we create
it. Yes, it did, bro.
Maybe you.
Think about this, Diallo. Think about this, bro. Think about this, bro.
We are not a product of slavery. We're a product of resistance.
No, yes, we is, bro.
We are a product of resistance. We're a product of resistance. We're a product of endurance. We are a product of adaptability.
Listen, bro. You wrong. All we gotta do is start saying the Pledge of Allegiance and really hate all the other people that look like us, that would join with us, that struggle with us, that are fighting the same oppressor that we fighting. All we got to do is turn our back on the rest of the world, and then they gonna see that we really mean it, and we keep saying the Pledge of Allegiance, and they gonna cut the check, and then we up, baby.
See, I know you're trying to make a joke, but it's too close to reality.
That's all we gotta do, bro.
It's such an ugly reality that it's not funny. It's like making fun of a person who falls and truly injures themselves. So
I got hold on.
It's okay to laugh if your homeboy fall and embarrass himself, get his pants dirty. It's not okay to laugh if your friend falls and breaks his femur with a bone jutting out.
Hold on. This right here. The annoying, divisive operator system has some people fooled by assholes.
And let me say something about foundational Black Americans.
I'm with them too.
When America was founded, Black people weren't even defined as human. We were defined as chattel.
Listen, bro.
We were not part of the founding of America. Bro. We were victims of the founding of America. So you are not foundational American.
Bro, listen.
We only exist as our ongoing resistance, our ongoing combat against America, not as a result of the prospering and advancement of America.
All right, you finished?
I'm sorry.
Listen, bro.
You're the one that owns a soapbox now.
I'ma do anything that a Mac, the Mac from MTV gonna teach me to do before I go do the mink slide at the party. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm gonna listen to this Mac from MTV. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna learn how to pick up babes. Then I'm gonna go to a party. I'm gonna do the mink slide.
Do those books work? Have you ever employed any of those methods and techniques?
Nah, I've always loved women. So I just walk up to them and talk. I don't.
What a novel concept.
Yeah, I just be like, oh wow, you look nice today. My name is Josephus. Like that's kind of what that was my approach. I didn't need the Mac.
You didn't run game.
No.
Run a formula. See, you got me so far off my notes. It says
I'm just saying, bro. Listen,
Can I
bro.
say one more thing and then we can open up and
let's do it.
In terms back to Idiocracy.
Okay.
Let's do the Siskel and Ebert thing. So what do you give it? A thumbs up, thumbs down?
I do that.
I give it. I say like Dave Chappelle when he was playing
Rick James, was you at 4 thumbs?
I was at 4 thumbs, so I can get that move at 4 thumbs down. It's a shame.
Yeah, like I think if you watch it critically and use it to kind of talk about the things that you're talking about, the way that it's portrayed, like it's a thing that people are familiar with, and then we really engage. You know, I think that's.
Yeah, well, you know, I was first like the movie. I would have given it a thumbs up. But being decades away from the movie, almost 2 decades away from the movie, and I see its reverberating impact, it's a very effective piece of pro-corporate, pro-status quo propaganda. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand it as being status quo propaganda when I saw it. But now that we've had almost 20 years to see, every time I hear someone reference that movie, it's in a way that I think is harmful to their own understanding of deterioration of not only society, but the maladaptation and dysfunction amongst the masses of the people. So it harms people understanding. So that's why I give it a thumbs down.
Yeah.
And it's not as good as I thought. And there's one more thing. I think we need to distinguish between blame and responsibility. Because a lot of times people think that blame and responsibility are the same thing. I blame the capitalist and the systems and institutions of white hegemony for the compromise and dysfunction of society. But I hold my people in the Pan-African struggle responsible for correcting it. So you're not blamed for causing it, but you're responsible for fixing it, because the people who cause it have not demonstrated the capacity to fix it, let alone the willingness. So we as African people are responsible for fixing and correcting the conditions that we didn't create. And I think that we should, as we take on the responsibility for correcting, we still have to continue to articulate who is to blame at every opportunity. And that's it. That's what that movie distorts. It distorts who's responsible for fixing it, and it distorts who's to blame for the downfall of society.
All I want to say is, you know what I'm saying, you can listen to that Black Power righteousness rap, you know what I'm saying, that ain't gonna get you no babes, or you can play the mink slide at your roller skate jam. You know what I'm saying?
No, let me tell you something. It's a lot of black conscious hustlers. You talk about that consciousness ain't gonna get. It's a lot of black consciousness to get. You know, a lot of getting them cookies. So hey, the link is in the comments.
Yeah, we got a few star comments. We got a few star comments while people coming on. And if you have not subscribed, thumbs up the video. You are absolutely, you know what I'm saying, a hater, but more than a hater, you got the FBA tattoo right here on your face.
Russell Maroon Short's memoir, I Am a Maroon, came out yesterday. Oh, I didn't know it existed. That's just an update.
We gotta figure out like what we gonna start doing to do like the engagement. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's something here. Because I think us talking about the movie is cool. But I also think us doing other things around this would be cool, too.
I thought we were going to do watch parties.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know you was with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I said yes.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I got to get this. I actually got some money. Shout out to y'all. Y'all went boy. Y'all did y'all thing going to the band camp. A lot of that stuff not gonna ship for a while, but you know, we working on fixing that.
Nice, beautiful, wonderful. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so I Am a Maroon. Shout out to Russell Maroon Schultz, who didn't behave like the real Maroons. I think that the Maroons historically getting far too more love than they deserve, but that's another discussion. So this is the book. Try to get it at a local bookstore. You know,
I gotta take some pictures at Marshall's tomorrow, so I'll be sure to order that.
Nice. All right, so let's move on to the.
What up, Dre? I don't know if we moving to weekly, but we are moving to some things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you know, Skipp's far too Hollywood. He can't come down here and talk to the normal folks that often.
But yeah, we gonna figure it out though.
Right, because he's on Hollywood, rap star status.
Maybe we could do it weekly. I don't know. Like, you know.
It's every other week because of Skipp.
Okay.
He's over here because of this dude. So. But there is at least one dude would be here. And that's the thing they do. They'd be like, y'all should go to weekly. And then next week we'd be sitting here and it'd just be me and you talking and bickering with each other.
Yeah, look, 13 viewers. And then they like, look at these lines.
Yeah, that's how they do. They gas you up only to let you down.
Here we go. Right on, Joe Cool. Right on, Joe Cool. Now, this is a movie right here.
The table. It's wrong, Joe. It doesn't explain shit. It distorts. It doesn't accurately describe anything. The only thing it does,
that's not what he said.
He said movie and Idiocracy explains a lot. And I'm saying it doesn't. Chairman Fred Hampton, conclusions that don't conclude. Explanations that don't explain. But we think it does because it confirms our biases and reinforces stereotypes. It's a status quo movie, not a transformative movie. Just like you said, Skip, if he really told the truth, he would have never got it through Hollywood.
It would never came out. Man, look, Nothing But a Man. Let me tell you something. Nothing But a Man.
That's old movie.
Abbott Lincoln, a Stone Cold Fox.
Before I was born.
Yeah. Abbott Lincoln, a Stone Cold Fox, boy. Nothing But a Man.
I guess. 1960.
Nothing But a Man.
Oh. All right. That can go on the watch. I'm gonna put that on the list for a watch party list.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on to the next.
Show cool. Ain't nobody coming on tonight? All right.
They scared. Well, this is new. You know, people still migrating over. So, but I'll share the link again. What did he say? I missed that. I ain't on your reading level, Skip. You can't just be running through these, you know. I went to public school.
Andy Williams, The Battle of Algiers. Me and my brother was watching that this weekend.
That was good. That was a good movie. What is idiots have resources that influence? What resources influence that idiots have that influence pop culture? That is not true. Even when you see somebody you would define as an idiot in the mainstream, they're not there because of their own resources. They're there. They're pushed by multinational corporations and the Hollywood CIA cabal, intelligence community, in propaganda apparatus. So what idiot has resources to influence? So you see Cardi B on there, you know, and she goes worldwide, or so whoever that you deem an idiot in the public eye, they're not there of their own volition.
Yep. Like none of the things that you like are you get access to because you're just so
you Joe Cool. Right. It's like, oh, look at this. Like I could go and get on Hollywood tomorrow. I demand you put me on. What resources does an idiot have to get themselves up there? Right-wing victories may bring out more overt right-wingers. Yeah. And they're not even right-wingers. They just mimic white folks. We got a whole cadre, a whole population of black people that are going to just follow white folks off the cliff. Whatever white folks is into, they going to get into. And I'm like, whether it's the Mormon church or the Oath Keepers, the only reason there are no black Klansmen is because the KKK explicitly bans black participation. There is no white nonsense in this world that doesn't have a black participant.
And then I'll tell you something. All right, we got a guest. Q. What's happening?
Welcome to the new channel. Q.
You muted, bro. Person. I'm sorry, person.
Still not hearing anything. Q. I'll unmute him myself. Nope.
I tried. You can't unmute him.
All right, Q. Maybe he's just here for moral support.
Yeah.
Who next, man? Right wing. I love that movie. And I got to know Sam Greenlee towards the end. And then I met his daughter who's made a documentary and reissued the film. I think it's a great movie. It's an even better book. The book is better because even though the movie's a masterpiece, the book is better because it goes so much deeper into his thoughts and motivations than the movie. Like his thought process, like I love the scene where he's doing the judo training and his thoughts about how he could kill his instructor and why he didn't. It's just, the book is a classic and the movie is a masterpiece, and the black community, black culture in the world is better for having Sam Greenlee write that book and make the movie. And the best thing about the movie, it was done bootleg. Like they didn't get permits and shit. They were literally running up in spots with cameras, shooting and running off before the cops came in Indiana and Chicago. And I got to meet David, wonderful brother, the guy who played I was born black. I live black. I'm gonna die probably cause I'm black. Cause some cracker who knows I'm black better than you,
nigga,
probably gonna put a bullet in the back of my head. He lives here in Chicago, and he's retired. You see him hanging out with his locks, just kicking it.
Hold up, bro. We got a legend in the chat. We got a legend by the hot phone. Y'all what African?
Let me reiterate it.
What up, African? Where you, man? Look, you got my line.
I did. I got it from Geechee. I'm a hit you.
You ain't gonna call both of y'all. I'm glad somebody's finally Hollywooding you. Somebody's finally rap starring in you. Now you see how I feel trying to deal with a rap star and keep up with a rap star. Now,
man,
you didn't call me. I didn't hear from you. Yeah, could have tasted your own medicine, Skipp.
Hey man, it's an honor, man. I just wanted to hop up here real quick, man, and just show my appreciation, man. You guys have had a huge impact on my journey. I talk about y'all fellas all the time, like y'all family, man.
We are. Where you at, bro?
I'm in North Carolina.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I'm in the Raleigh Durham area.
Say less, bro.
Yeah,
I gotta get out there and holler at little bro. So yeah, this make all the sense in the world. So like,
yeah, man. I'm gonna definitely hit you though, Skipp, man. It's been a busy week for me. I've been working on some other stuff, man. I'd love to get you to check out, man, and see if you mess with it or not.
That's bro. Like I'm telling you, I tell anybody, like trying to talk to me on the internet, like cause it is, you got an internet place for me to talk to you. Mm-hmm. But other than that, bro, like I don't do that. Like I really no. So like you want to rap with me, hit my line, bro. So
yeah. I applaud it, man.
I don't gotta do.
I can see why it's hard to keep your sanity sometimes, man. When you
that's what I'm saying. Like I don't.
Yeah. Nah, I admire it, man. Keep it as clear of a mind as you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, man, I was trying to type it in the chat, man. I didn't realize the chat had limits on characters. But I had put this verse out maybe like last week, where I was talking about I was just trying to express how I got exposed to Daniel Moynihan.
Moynihan report.
Yeah, the Moynihan.
Old school liberal.
Yeah, the Moynihan report. And how he was basically trying to justify not redistributing resources or some of those benefits from the New Deal to Black folks because of our quote unquote cultural depravity. And it just dawned on me that I see so many Black people echoing his analysis. Mm-hmm. Like that, I feel like that's all I hear. It's people just pointing the blame at us, for cultural depravity. And I think that kind of really ties into some of the points that you guys were making, where there are these like think tanks that create these narratives that we end up running with as if they're our own. And I just see it, man, proliferated everywhere. And like you, Skipp, man, I don't think anybody in my social circle that has not even just a leftist analysis, but even a consciousness that leftists exist. And so a lot of stuff that you were saying earlier, where you talking to these people and you like, man, I'm defending us while you still defending our oppression and our oppressors. And I run into that all the time, where it's just people have no clue. Everybody's reactionary. Nobody's exploring the root cause of anything. Everybody's just reacting to everything. And I think for me, man, it was there it is right there. There it is. It made so much sense, man, because like for me, man, I was just I would hear a lot of stuff that a lot of people would say, man. I'm just like, man,
Well,
that's my fault.
No. Daniel Patrick Moynihan is literally the godfather of the Black manosphere.
Yep. There you go.
He's literally the guy, and they don't know who he is, but like you said, so we should probably do a discussion and review of the Moynihan report. We'd love to have you on for that, you know.
Hey man, it'd be my honor, man.
I haven't heard. I've referenced it in the past, but I mean, that should be brought to the forefront.
I don't know why it's not talked about more.
Because people are saying it without knowing what they're saying. You have people out here repeating rhetoric that they don't even understand. It's like with that Earn Your Leisure group and that whole thing, you invest and you earn your leisure. And I'm like, that's a Nazi trope from when they said work will set you free.
Oh, wow.
Like, rest is something you have to work for. Leisure and comfort is something you have to work for. It's not your innate right.
Wow.
That was a Protestant work ethic. And then later adopted by the Nazi as an empty promise. If you work hard, it will grant you your freedom. And if you work hard now, it will grant you your leisure, which are both illogical. So people are articulating the Moynihan report, but they don't know it. A lot of people, Dr. Fubar, believe they're coming up with it themselves.
Yeah. They think it's original. Like we don't figure it out.
That's the point of indoctrination, to make you think other people's thoughts are your own.
Yeah. I when I came across that, I was like, man, why are people not like talking about this? You know, so I'm trying to use what I got, to kind of plant seeds as much as I can. I ain't want to hog the time too much, man. I know y'all got a lot of people want to talk to y'all boys, but I like to that point that you just made, Diallo. Like I think one of the biggest things for me, and I think I posted this in a chat with you guys earlier, that man, I was in a MLM for like almost a decade.
Did you get rich?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I got traumatized. I got traumatized, man, and I just think that one thing that I did get from it was just being able to understand capitalism, and the harm that it creates, because a lot of what I experienced in there, because I did have, I guess, quote unquote, some success, I wasn't in there for 10 years just, hanging around, but went left because yeah, I guess so. That's what they would say. That's a fact. That's what they.
I'm only a revolutionary until I secure the bag.
Right. That's what they would say. But I think that so much of like what I see from like the Earn Your Leisure guys is stuff that we experienced in there, years earlier. And I think a lot of those cats, man, come out of that same camp. Just by like their verbiage, the things that they say, the tactics, like it's a dirty game, but like when you're in it, it's a cult. I tell people all the time, it's a commercial cult, and when you're in it, you get indoctrinated, and you think that you're doing the right thing, like you think you're gonna be helpful, like all of that, like
secular cult is more accurate.
Yeah. Big time.
At this juncture, I think that for the first time in human history, secular cults are now on par in terms of number and the number of people, because religion is more people who attend church or have a religious affiliation is actually declining across the quote unquote developed nations. And for the first time in human histories in Western societies, membership in secular cults is on par and reaching, if not, I could even say surpassing the number of people in religious cults.
Yeah, I would kind of say that, but also it's like quasi Christian cult too, because a lot of those like Protestant principles, like everything is like God-centered. It is like very evangelical based, and that was one thing that kind of, I would say, held me back a little bit because when I came in, I wasn't religious. You know, I wasn't. I was always skeptical, and
you want to name it?
Oh, the no,
I don't want them to come after you.
Yeah, I don't even know, man. I've been thinking about it because I got a story to tell for sure.
Yeah, if you don't want to name it,
but hey, Skipp, they don't play fair. Them companies do not play fair, and if you bring their name up, they are legit. Oh, actually, I guess I can say it because they went bankrupt, and that's what saved me. The company name was World Ventures. And yeah, it was called World, and they was actually big in Chicago, Diallo. I don't know if you ever saw those like blue "You should be here" signs.
No,
it was like a good for you. Good.
I'm too much of a hater. I'm too pessimistic. Can't nobody come to me and promise me riches. I'm so pessimistic and hater.
Hey,
bro, like I've got an opportunity for you. That's the only reason my hateration has sheltered me from MLMs.
I think the thing about it though, like by the time it got to me, it was a lot slicker. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't Amway. You know what I'm saying? It was like vacations.
You remember Mata?
I had heard of that one.
Oh yeah,
sound like juices though.
MLM.
Afrocentric.
Yeah, well the owner, remember the DC sniper?
Yeah.
The founder of Mata was shot by the DC sniper, but he was creating a pyramid scheme, MLM, and we had a bookstore, and we used to open the bookstore up for people to come in and make presentations, sell their books, poetry reading. It was trying to allow it to be a community space. And this one guy came in and was like, "Yeah, I got this herbal remedies and holistic health, blah blah blah." And we're like, "Okay, yeah, we have a vegan menu and we promote holistic health in our." So he came and did it, and it ended up being a Mata pitch. And so we had to shut it down halfway through. Like, you pushing an MLM. You're not here talking about health and remedies and shit. Shut this shit down. That was the first and only time I had to literally kick someone out of my store.
Man, yeah, I could see it, man. I'm glad, man. It could have been me, man. It could have been me back in the day.
Yeah, it would have been big. Like I said, if the DC sniper hadn't killed the founder, I think Mata would be a household name in the Black community.
It might, man. They had another one out there in the DC area. I think it was called like 5 Links or something like that. It was another big one, man. It's been quite a few of them, but again, like that's another way that people use like quote unquote Black empowerment, or I guess as Dr. Ball would say Black capitalism. Using it as like it's some type of revolutionary tactic. We can use this vehicle to like free all of us, and nobody takes the time out to actually do the math and realize that it's no way possible. But again, that because when I started coming across like you guys' content via, actually it's crazy because like I found out about you guys through FD Signifier.
Oh, word.
Yeah, watching some of his videos, and it's like I've had this like drift further and further left, you know what I'm saying? And when you guys really kind of started just breaking down capitalism and like started recommending some of those books, man, I'm like a sponge, so I'm always taking notes. I'm like, I'm gonna go right to it. Nice. And I started reading and looking into things, man. I was like, man, this whole thing is a big pyramid scheme. You know what I'm saying? Like it all worked.
Pyramid scheme with nukes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But again, like that the Amway guy, like Amway is short for the American way. Right. And they've been huge donors to the Republican Party. And I think one of them was like a head of the Treasury. Like they were heavily entrenched in politics. But I want to say that the DeVos lady that was head of the Department of Education, her brother is like the head of
paramilitary.
That paramilitary? Yeah, that paramilitary.
Yeah,
Blackwater.
They changed their name like half a dozen times. It was changing every time they get caught up in an atrocity, mass killing or something. They changed their name, rebrand, get a new logo. But they're originally known as Blackwater. You can get a book called Blackwater. It's the largest private military, and they go there and they try to contract with Haiti and throughout sub-Saharan Africa to put down uprisings, coups d'etats, and things of that.
It was just a clip of him I saw going viral when he was I guess he was doing an interview, and he was basically making the case that that Africans are incapable of governing themselves. All the African leaders want to go to Europe and spend all their money, so it's up to us to basically colonize them.
Yeah. And he's an evangelical dispensationalist Christian.
Yeah,
a conservative evangelical Christian. So he sees it at his private army is not only a mercenary army, but it is God's army to bring God's will and God's judgment and God's protection to the world. So there's a religious slant to that capitalist venture.
And all of that stuff is deeply embedded into like network marketing as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like I was in it so long and met so many people in it, and that was at like the top levels, and like a bunch of different companies. And it's like they really were the foundation. And basically everything is like a spin-off from them. But like when you dive into their family and see how politically oriented they are and embedded they are, then you can kind of, to me, I can kind of see how that in itself is just a microcosm of what's happening on a macro level. But what's hilarious, what's interesting to me, I tell my wife about it all the time, is that like, you know, people have no problem critiquing MLMs and like seeing the flaws in that. But then when you start breaking up capitalism,
the Treasury Department,
right,
manipulating interest rates,
but you know, people can't see how, like, you know, on a larger scale that a few people are able to benefit at the expense of the masses, you know, and that's what took place there. And maybe more of an exaggerated form, but it's like I have conversations with like my dad, for instance, you know, being critical of like capitalism, or saying like, I don't think that there are any good billionaires, and he'll bring up somebody like Kevin Hart, and I'm just like, see, that's exactly.
Is he a billionaire?
No, he's not. But he was.
I'm like, say, y'all didn't got that fool to billionaire status. I'll never forget the community.
He might get there, but I mean, what he was saying was, he was like basically like, you know, just kind of telling me his story of like how he came from nothing, and then, you know, he's amassed this great success. And I was telling him, I was like, look, that's the same thing they used to do in the network marketing companies. They would bring somebody like me who, you know, was making minimum wage at Krispy Kreme and was able to, you know, build an organization of like 10,000 people, and, you know, say, hey, he if he can do it, you can do it, you know. And it's just like, you're not taking into consideration, like, I probably knew more people, you know, I was more articulate, more charismatic. It's just things about me that everybody doesn't have, and they love to make the case that, you know, everybody can do it, and that, you know, everything is duplicatable when it's not. And to me, that's the same type of thing with like Kevin Hart, or at least most black celebrities. It's like most of them came from entertainment. Things like, you have a 1 in a, you know, million shot, you know, less than that. Still, we know, you know, of becoming like a Kevin Hart. It's a reason why we can name these people by name. And, you know, so when you're using these people as like a justification of that the system works, it's actually doing the opposite, you know. And so it's crazy, man. I could talk about that all day, man, but I didn't want to hold y'all boys, man. I just wanted to say, man, I appreciate you guys, man. Y'all have helped me out a lot, man. Y'all have like Skipp was saying that my free thinking has made me a pariah at this point almost. So I'm kind of leaning on you guys, man.
Yeah, you got community over here, because I know what that's like.
But I appreciate you guys, man.
All right, bro.
Hey, bro. Looking forward to catching up with you.
No doubt. We'll do. Appreciate it.
All right, peace. Kadir, thank you for waiting patiently. Question, comment, criticism?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
What's
Hey, what
up?
up?
He kind of was touching on some things that I was that brought up some memories for me as well, especially about the MLM. I wasn't involved in one, but like I don't know what is on my face, but I've had people come up to me to the point where I was able to spot out somebody who was a part of one and tell them like, nah, I'm cool. But I was gonna ask one. I put it in the chat. It was like a suggestion for rational radicals and Black Liberation Media. I feel like y'all should do a not to press upon labor upon anybody, but I feel like y'all should do a like a critical media analysis rubric for like music, movies, commercials, books, because I mean, no one meant to side and just, you know, acknowledging like how a lot of our people, we don't all, you know, we might be a little, you know, neurodivergent at times. We learn differently. So, I mean, maybe some way if we were to make it in a way that essentially we can assess or snuff out, like, you know, the bullshit that's presented to us, you know, maybe we won't respond the same way to certain things. But I do think a movie and a documentary or like a biopic are going to be different things. So you don't expect certain things out of a movie that you're going to expect out of a documentary or, you know, historical film or something like that. But I will also add another movie that potentially you could check out. Because I you know, I think history is important, but I think future is also important because it's a platform to be able to get people to think about what we're susceptible to and what could happen, and just kind of rebuild as a way to rebuild our imaginations. Because I think I've heard maybe both of y'all point to how one of the most tragic things that we lost in the Ma'afa was our imagination. And you know, I think the future, while it can be a lie, I think it is an opportunity to be able to fathom and create, you know, what we want to work towards and build. So this movie is called, it's like a documentary / animated thing. It's kind of a mixture of things. It's called The Africologist.
The Africologist. I haven't heard of that one.
You know, the graphics ain't, you know, the greatest, but it's got, you know, it's got like some animated things and just kind of puts out ideas and things like that. The dude considers himself like a Cabralist, so Amilcar Cabral, but yeah, it was a pretty interesting documentary to check out, or I don't even know what to call it, honestly. It's like a collection of things.
What is the focus of it?
I think it kind of addresses like modern issues, but like kind of like the importance of kind of like Pan-African, you know, ideology, and kind of like putting like some futurism in it. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. I actually paid to go see it because it was like a part of a film festival or something like that. But it was pretty interesting. It was thought provoking. I'll say that definitely. And it was something different, you know, because you don't always see certain things like this in just you know, of course you don't see things like this in regular media.
Right. All right, I appreciate the recommendation because it looks interesting, but I'm very cautious when it comes to futurism. But
oh yeah, me too. I know it could be escapism, but I also think that it's the opportunity, like I said, just to kind of get people to critically think if they want to critically think. You know, some people want to just escape, but Yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna start doing watch parties. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're gonna have to come up with a list. So I'm definitely going to
All
give this a consideration at best, at worst.
Yeah. No, I think
And and then that rubric, that I think that really might help some people. Like a 10-point, I said like a 10-point critical media analysis rubric.
That might be a good idea. That's it. I mean, he's just coming on here giving assignments.
yeah, like, and it was like, I don't want y'all to
And we
work
tell
so
him
hard.
something to do.
Yeah. Hey, did you hit the like button? That's what you did. Did you hit the like button?
Did you just subscribe to the new channel?
I was already subscribed.
To the new African World Order?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to everybody.
Did you hit the
Because
like?
actually the numbers on African World Order have more than doubled
Yeah.
in one night.
Did you hit the like though? Did you hit the thumbs up?
I'm not sure about that one.
Okay, well, let's get that.
Yeah,
We're at
give them
17.
something to
I
do.
want to give us up to 45.
I got you. I got y'all.
Oh, five. Yeah,
right,
everybody
right.
watching should subscribe. All right, bro. Appreciate you.
No problem.
making good
Appreciate
time.
y'all. Thank you.
All right. Have a good evening.
Uh,
What's the next comment? It was some haterific comments I wanted to get to. Clap back on some of these comments. I don't know if we're gonna get to them all.
I think this is quite like, I don't know why you was unsubscribed from the other channel, but you know,
Maybe they have a limit.
um,
No,
I
I
put
wouldn't.
I put it in the chat.
Can
But
you
it's
say
like,
it? People don't want to
yeah,
read shit.
but it's also like Skipp Coon was one of like the characters, the turkey in the straw. So yeah, it's like it's playing on all of that. You know what I'm saying? Quinn Spencer. Hey, are you Quinn that work at Kroger to help Drake? My question is, do you think Africans in America are taking cues from Africans on the continent or vice versa?
Yes.
Yeah, like we are
Positively and negatively.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got drill music in Africa, and we got
Afro beats and
hustlers, and we got Yoruba and Kemetic cult leaders here. So there's positive and negative engagement and interaction between the African continent, because African people, when you take African people out of Africa by force or voluntary migration, that doesn't break them from Africa. It expands Africa's reach. So we remain Africans. I mean, Europeans have been in this country for centuries, and they still act like Europeans. And we've been Africans all over the globe. And when you look at many of the anthropologists, you listen to many of the linguists, or even like culinary traditions, call and response. We might have different languages, different churches, but our core, what Dr. Marimba Ani calls our asili, the germ seed of culture and identity, we are still very much Africans. And if you go amongst Africans, whether they are from the diaspora or the continent, that haven't been so ravaged by menticide and indoctrination and self-hate, you'll find that it's almost an instant connection, and you can converse quite easily. So yeah, simple answer is yes.
Yeah. All right. I think it's very weird that we're doing this, but okay, here we go. Share screen, Wikipedia, turkey in the straw. It's Skipp Coon character.
Oh, we got
so one of the things that's like I wanted to do, I was in a rap group with another dude at the time, and we wanted to do an album called Animal Farm. So we needed to have animal names. The other guy was James Crow. So I needed a name. And I saw Skipp Coon and thought, oh, that's interesting. So I was like deep into like the minstrel shows. And minstrelsy is like kind of got a bad rap. It was really black people making fun of white people in the minstrel show at the beginning, and then white people started doing it because they didn't know that they would have butted a joke. So they thought they were making fun of us, but they were really making fun of themselves by acting like us, which is so then it was like, all right, well, Zip, not it, because that has a particular connotation, and I've never sold drugs like that to have a name like Skipp Coon. So, all right, what about Skipp Coon? Because we need to skip that coon shit and get to like some real rapping. Oh yeah, I like that. I like Skipp Coon. So then I made it mean something. It's called a backronym, where you come up with a word and then you try to make it make sense. So like old school rappers. So systems keep individuals privileged and powerful, right? So, and then it was the second P, because I'm from Mississippi. That's it.
Layers.
Yeah.
I like creative types. I'm sorry I bullied y'all in high school.
You did not bully anybody.
I haven't.
Like you don't have, like, I can see it ain't in your fault.
No. Can I tell you something? I got a story to tell. Shout out to my man Rip the Crip. I was in Kansas City a few months ago, and I ran into I introduced you to him.
Yeah.
Like OG from my hood, you know.
Yeah, we was at the restaurant, right?
Good brother, yes. And I was talking to him a little while ago. I was in Kansas City, but I was just talking to him on the phone. We were trying to coordinate something, but he was too busy with his farm. And I was like, man, you know, I was just thinking back, man, we made it out. And he was like, man, I'm not going to have that conversation with you. We made it out, nigga. As if it was a foregone conclusion that you was going to make it. There was never a time where we were like, bro, Diallo, or they used to call me Crazy D. It was never a time. So I'm not having this we made it conversation with you, of all fucking people.
Yeah, I just, you know,
as though there was a point in time where you were just off the path and it was touch and go. Like, stop it.
Yeah, nah.
So I'm like, damn, man, you know, I was broke as you. I was like, nah, but it was never no time that you or anybody in our hood that was like, oh, we don't know about Diallo. We knew your ass was up and out of here. So stop it. So I couldn't even front. Like, I made it.
All right, here go the last one, I think. So now your name is Diablo.
I've been Diablo my whole life, since I was a little kid. My uncles used to call me Diablo. I used to eat a lot of refined processed sugar and low quality processed carbohydrates. And so I was very energetic youth. So I've been called Diablo and Diaboloso my entire life. It doesn't offend me. I answer to it. If I'm out somewhere and somebody says Diablo, I'm like, huh? It has never offended me. And when I was first called Diablo, I didn't know that it meant devil because I didn't know Spanish. So, but I was being called Diablo since I have memory, since I was like 5-6 years old. So,
yeah, like this
I'm
what I'm
finding a new way,
like,
not offended.
Like sometimes, man, like I just really wonder where these people grew up. Cause like, bro, like somebody making fun of your name is like, my name Josephus, bro.
Your mama didn't like you very much.
You know what I'm saying? Like my name Josephus. Bro, here's a crazy story about my name being Josephus. So the job I had was like, hey, what was your name supposed to be if your name wasn't your name, right? So I asked my mom, I was like, hey, like, what were the names that you had for me? My mama told me I named you Josephus when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
That's crazy to me. Like, so you 9 years old and just being like, yeah, my son gonna be named Josephus.
That's an interesting question. So you never had a chance. No, I think it's a cool ass name.
I mean, like, it's my name. Like, I went through the period of like, you know, like, man, like, I wish it was kind of more Muslim, right? Because like all the cool kids had Muslim names.
See, my father's a Muslim. I'm so glad he didn't give me an Arabic name. Ain't no such thing as a Muslim name. That's Bob or Robert is as Islamic as Muhammad. Muhammad's name was Muhammad before he became the prophet.
Right.
That's an Arabic name, not a Muslim name. There's no such thing as a Muslim name.
All right, bro. See, this how y'all handle Diallo.
My name was supposed to be Arthur.
No, when my mama was 9. But like, bro, the fact that your name Arthur, like, you really could have been an author though.
Yeah, my mom wanted to name me Arthur because that's my dad's name. But my dad became a Muslim when he was incarcerated. So when he came out, he wanted to give his kids African names. So that's why my first name is Diallo and my middle name is actually Kenyatta.
Yeah, that's tough.
But I just dropped my last name, so
yeah.
I was supposed to be Arthur.
Yeah, that could have been cool. Hey, Culture Crack, you know, like, I mean, I don't know if people knew it or not, but like, also, like, I will say this about it though. Like, people be acting like Skipp Coon, like, what are we doing? Ludicrous? Fabulous? Like, it's a fucking rap name. Like, why are we acting like they make sense? Like, what? Like, I don't understand.
I've had to overcome. I had to explain your name to people because I'm like, check out Skipp Coon. He's like, I don't want to listen to no more Coons. And I'm like, no, that's not it. So I've had to overcome.
Yeah, like, and then like the other thing is for me, you don't get past the first bar on any song that you listen to and be like, oh, this is a good time that's about to be had. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Yeah. Anyway.
I guess, man.
So true.
Like, I just... and I think all of it, like, and I say this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. I think a lot of this stuff is because I'm Southern.
Oh, of course.
If I was from somewhere else...
I tried to get you out of the South. You wouldn't be carrying that burden.
Never.
If you was out of the South, they'd be like, he's so cultured and clever. What a clever lad. The white folks up here would love you.
Man, like, boy, man, I'm from...
Man, come on. Get above it. You got to live above the Mason-Dixon. It's what Harriet Tubman would have wanted for you.
Ain't no way.
Ain't no way. We have architecture. Did I mention the museums and botanical gardens?
Bro, I had a good time in Chicago, man.
Of course you did.
I'll come back. I ain't coming by. I ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying?
I can't fault you for that. That's the same way I feel about Mississippi.
I ain't coming back while it's cold.
Yeah, but then I get to break out my winter coats, my furs.
What kind of vegan is you? Huh? What kind of vegan is you?
No, all my leather is inherited. No, I don't buy leather.
Oh, I do.
And I was out today, my wife and I, she had class today, so we were milling around downtown, and we went into this store, and she saw this leather purse, and I saw her modeling this purse in the mirror, and I'm like, oh. And she's like, I'm not buying it. I just, you don't know the burden. You think that like religious people are burdened. Vegans are the most burdened people.
Man,
we live on one of the most guilt-ridden, burdened people in society, more so than devout Christians.
Thank you, Zero PE. You get it.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Is that the last one? There was somebody I thought I had to curse out talking greasy, but maybe I didn't start.
Yeah, I just rolled through all of them. Like, we're not getting into that foolishness.
Okay, good.
Hey, man.
I'm glad you keep that side of me down, man, because like where I'm from and how I came up, man, is so I'm glad, I got you there to kind of help level that off, because I don't want to have to go there.
Yeah, you don't want to be there. You don't want to be that man
in my life. Yeah. But we making good time. Let's close this out. Shout out to everybody who subscribed to the new channel. Like, share, subscribe with your friends, enemies, lovers, haters, comrades, and debaters. Get the channel out there. Let's get to 1,000 within a week before our next show.
Let's do it. Thank you for our health. Thank you for our safety. Thank you for those people that love us and those people that we are allowed to love. Continue to protect us as we move, as we journey to and fro. Continue to deepen our connections to community. Keep us all together in all the ways that we can be. Amen.
Peace and ashe. All right, bro. Until next time.
Round to the real. Hey, let's wrap offline though.
Tonight? Or call you later?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, work midnight.
All right, I'm going to finish my chocolate bar and make another thing and go play some Xbox. All right, bro.